other bartender comes up and does the point, the bartender point, like, hey, you good?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. She's like, can I get you something? He's like, can I get you something? And she's like, I just thought that, like, you were going to make drinks or whatever. He's like, he just kind of looked at her like he wanted to set her on fire. He's like, what do you want? It's like, I want a vodka, but, like, not with soda. I want it with, like, tonic water, but, like, can you go, like, to Kroger and get it? I don't like it here.
Oh, boy.
And can you, like, fart in it, too? That'd be great.
Welcome to
Hello, fuckers. I'm a time traveler. It's
what a
Monday
clever
the 12th.
name. God damn, that is
Welcome
clever.
to Die, Episode 4, Part 3. And after this, we'll finally be finished talking about scurry stuff.
I will tell you, this has been an endeavor, you know?
Yeah.
Wowee.
Yeah, we've been at this for like 3 hours.
It's
guys,
been
so
something. Yeah. It's been a time. So
we're done with the scary stories.
talk about time traveling.
I'm horny.
Oh,
I'm hungry.
we can't. So that's why we don't actually film these things. Like, we can see each other, even though we're not all in the same place right now. We're all just like naked and horny as fuck on here. So
yeah, I have been masturbating furiously this entire
fucking
episode.
feverish.
Flopping my tits around.
Yep.
Trying to, like, rip it, just like trying to pull it off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's quite a show. This is something you'd have to pay at least 3,000 pesos for down south. So,
I prefer bitcoins.
so
but,
this,
you know.
yeah, looking into that recently, actually, it's kind of crazy. It's a crazy world. So this is, like Catherine said, this is brand. This is episode 4. Part 3. We recorded all this in one big old fucking go. It is still October 29th. Tomorrow's Jesse's birthday.
Gasp.
Who knew? But actually, by the time you listen to this, it'll be 2 weeks from now.
And you should have already voted.
You should have already voted. You should have already
damn it,
wished
I fucking
Jesse
hope
a
you
happy
went out
birthday.
there and voted, you fucking piece of shit. I really hope
every
so.
time. So he's still. It's gonna sound like he's like still really heated about the voting thing, but it makes perfect.
I'll be
sense.
fucking heated about it till the world's fucking fixed, Josh.
Good luck to you, man. If you can, if the votes fix it, then maybe I'll actually go out there and vote.
It can't fucking hurt.
Probably can't help either.
Can't hurt.
Hey, man, I'll tell you this. Fuck off. So, enjoy part 3. Moving on, I got a couple, like, short stories we can do.
Yeah, but for real though, fuck that house you used to live in. Like,
Yeah, my mom's place.
Yeah, man, that.
I mean, I don't know. It's not so bad anymore. I feel like it was bad like 5 or 6 years ago.
Your fucking room, dude. It was creepy as shit over there in that corner. There was something in the corner that just watched you. And then outside
Also,
something would
like,
watch you.
Like ironically, like right where the corner is in that basement.
Yes.
Like where it is outside.
Place. Yes.
Yeah. Which is weird because that's not like, just like I said earlier, like there are areas where you think you should be fucking spooked.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you approach my house, the part that's like right next to the woods you would think would be the fucking spooky part.
Oh,
But it's not.
pretty spooky.
It's the wide, I mean it's spooky enough, but it's the wide open fucking part with like, there's like houses in view, there's like other shit you can see around. That's the fucking spooky part.
I mean,
and it's weird
that thing
because something's watching
we saw,
you.
Man. That thing we
Yeah, no. We'll get to that. We will get to that. I think that's gonna be like the grand finale. So,
because that is.
Is it Birdman time?
well, yeah, that too. I'm probably gonna do that. Probably gonna do that one right before the thing in the woods. And who knows? Maybe the thing in the woods was the fucking Birdman.
Oh,
So,
shit.
So I got a couple like really short stories. So I was early 20s. I have no fucking idea. 22, maybe 23. I was driving my mom's car. She's got a Dodge Challenger, right? It's like a 2014 maybe. She bought it brand new. She bought like the super cheapo model. Don't think my mom's loaded or anything. It was like an $18,000 car. She bought like the most basic bitch model you could buy. But so she's got it. And she's got me going somewhere at night. I think I was running to town to get her something, probably a fucking Coke. And so I'm driving up. This is in downtown Perryville. I'm on B Road. It turns into Main Street. Main Street hits the square. I'm coming up to the stoplight in the square. And as I pass by a street light, it kind of flashes across my back seat, right? And as the light flashes across my back seat, in the rearview mirror, I see a fucking man sitting in the back seat of the car. Oh. And I like shit my fucking pants for a second. And I remember like immediately calling my mother. I think I pulled over into the city parking lot right there and like got out of the car and like checked the car. I was like, holy fuck, there's a guy back there. And I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, I just saw a fucking dude in the back seat of your car. What the fuck are you trying to do to me? She was like, oh, yeah, I seen that shit too. Like, here she is all nonchalant about it, right? Even when she's acknowledging my fucking spooky shenanigans, she's still like, oh, hell, yep, oh, yeah, there's a man in that seat. I forgot to tell you about that. Happens sometimes when you're driving around at night. Sometimes there's just a feller back there. So I was like, yeah, thanks for the heads up, Mom. Later, we went to a psychic that explained to my mother that it could have been a stalker astrally projecting himself into my mother's life.
Oh, that's an episode we should do too, psychics.
What?
Yeah. Mrs. Clark told my mom that the man she was seeing around, because my mom saw this guy like everywhere. It was the same guy. He was like super young. He was real dapper looking. He had like hair maybe a little shorter than Kat's, and it was like kind of had like a part in it. He looked like a businessman, right? Super clean shaven, and he had this fucking smirk on his face. I remember the look. It was like a half smile, right? So she told my mom that it was some stalker of hers that was like trying so hard to be around her that he was projecting himself into her life, like into her house, into her car.
Yeah, but who the
you could see
fuck
him there.
Was it?
So my mom like brushed it off initially, and then it wasn't until like a year later or so that she like actually talked to me about it. She's like, oh yeah, there was a dude like following me home from work and shit. She's like, and I didn't ever want to tell you about it, but because of reasons, I guess. I was like, Mom, no.
Did you guys have a talk about that?
Yeah, I was like, that's when you tell a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like when someone is actively stalking you. She's like, well, I didn't want you to overreact and like kill him or something. I was like, no. That's how you die, right?
Jesus Christ.
So look. Okay. So all right, let's say you got two different scenarios that can play out there. So he invades your home and murders you, and then I go on a nationwide manhunt and track him down and kill him, right? Now you're both dead. Or you tell me about it, I wait up for him at night, set an elaborate series of traps based on Jesse's blueprints from the Home Alone movies.
Fuck you.
I set an elaborate array of home traps and fucking film the next goddamn hit of the season, Those are the only two fucking possibilities. I think that's the second time in this podcast we brought up Jesse being in Home Alone.
Yeah. I had.
So yeah, if you guys don't know, Jesse is Macaulay Culkin.
No, I had a striking resemblance to him when I was a child.
Yeah,
that's true.
I don't know. Even adult Macaulay Culkin kind of favors you just a hair.
No.
Like when you were in
Macaulay Culkin, who's no longer addicted to drugs,
right,
and has gained a normal amount of weight.
I would say like when you were in like your grunge phase and you had like the long hair and you're like, yeah, whatever, man.
The teenager.
Kind of Macaulay Culkin-ish. Yeah.
He was a teenager.
Yeah, you were a little Macaulay. Yeah, I feel like that's. Hey, man. Hey, we're all there. We're all there sometime, right? Ironically, there was another time in my youth when I was probably. There's another short story. When I was probably 12 or 13, we were sitting around telling fucking spooky stories like this. And it was after a wedding I went to when I was a kid. This is in Arkansas. also in the middle of nowhere. If you're from Arkansas, I'm sorry. That's it. That's all I have to say about that. It's really an unfortunate place to be from. So we're like literally out in the middle of a fucking dirt farm in the middle of Arkansas, and we're telling spooky stories in a trailer. Because, you know, fucking born and bred, boy, I tell you, trailer life. Hashtag do it. So we're out in a trailer in the middle of this fucking dirt field telling spooky stories. It's late as shit. And she had like super, super thick fucking carpet put into her trailer, right? And we're sitting in the living room. There's probably 5 or 6 of us, which was the real fucked up thing. Normally spooky stuff happens when there's just like you or maybe a couple people. There's like 5 or 6 of us motherfuckers sitting in the living room. And her front door opens, and it would only open up like a third of the way. Like you had to like physically like wrestle this fucking door across this carpet to get it to open any further. Because it was just such thick carpet. And we're sitting there, and this fucking door just opens up on its own and opens all the way the fuck up. Like, scoots its fucking ass across the carpet, just like, across the super heavy shag carpet, and like fucking floors its fucking self against the wall.
Power like, Satan.
Right, against the wall. And at that point, like, everyone's just like nonchalant about it. I guess if there's that many motherfuckers in a room, they're like, well, how about that? God damn. Wouldn't you know it? We're sitting here in a circle telling fucking spooky fucking stories. And goddamn, would you look at that right there? That fucking door just got a mind of its own, you know? Who knew? Well, I'm going to bed. And that's pretty much what happened. Like, we didn't, like, no one really thoroughly acknowledged it for being as fucked up as it was. But it was really fucked up. Yeah, I guess I could tell you about the Jesse mentioned the fucking house in Cape, the one I forgot about, that story. So when I was in the so I used to be a cop. We'll probably bring that up eventually. I've been a cop a couple of times. When I was in the police academy, this was in 2013, I was living in Jesse's basement. The way Jesse's dad kind of set the house up, it was basically set up to where like 4 different people could live there. And it was almost like a quadplex, right? Like upstairs had its own bathroom, kitchen, laundry set up. The downstairs had its own bathroom, kitchen, laundry set up. And there was a room on each side of the house, upstairs and downstairs. So like 4 rooms, right? Boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Right and left side of the house. So there was someone directly above and below you no matter what bedroom you were staying in. Just so happened that Jesse's room was directly over my room. So I got to hear all of his wonderful conversations with his girlfriend at 3 in the morning. Various times when she decided to like vacuum the floor or like stomp around really fucking hard. Like put her laundry away and slam her fucking dresser drawers, like whatever she planned on doing at 3 or 4 in the morning when my ass had to be up and go to the police academy at 7. So, yeah, that was great. That was spooky dooky enough for me.
Yeah, quiet wasn't something she knew how to do.
No. So, this was a night, I think it was a weekend. Everyone was fucking gone but me. I'm in the home alone, which, of course... Like, I'm sitting there, I don't remember what I was doing, like, kicked back on my bed, probably wasting my life, right? I hear, like, the fucking front door upstairs just, like, fling open frantically, slam closed, and I hear someone, like, running through the goddamn house upstairs. Like dead sprint, just like, across the floor, right? And they run into Jesse's room, which is right over my head. And I can hear them going through his shit, like, fucking feverishly. They're just like it was so weird, like sprinting around his room so fast, just like over to this side of the room, and I can hear some shit move around. Over here, some fucking drawers closed. I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck? So I shoot Jesse a text real quick. I did like the okay Google text Jesse, and it's like, you know, while I'm getting my gun together, and you know I'm fucking putting some shorts on, and I'm like getting my gun. I'm like, hey Jesse, are you home? And he texted me back. Promptly, which is something that just doesn't happen.
I believe I was, I don't know, maybe possibly post-coitus. You know, give it the kind of look at the phone, like, oh fuck, what time is it?
And I got
like,
you.
Right as soon as you texted.
You already had your phone in your hand.
Yeah, I had my phone in my hand.
So, stroke of luck, right? So I texted Jesse, like, hey man, did you come back for something? Like, are you missing something? And he just texts, no, why? And I was like, there's someone in the house. Like, I just put my phone in my pocket and, like, go upstairs, right? So I can only imagine Jesse was thinking, like, some, like, movie-style shit was going down, right? Which it really was. So, like, I'm literally in the middle of the police academy. Like, we had just finished with, like, range week. So I'm super hyped up on, like, fucking tactical Dan mode, right? I've got my fucking gun and my flashlight in my hand. And I'm clearing rooms like fucking... Yo! Fucking police academy recruit Josh Hargrove! Are you in the house? Show yourself! And, you know, I'm like, room's clear! Next! Move to the living room! Clear left, clear right. You know, I'm like systematically clearing the fucking, like, in my head, I'm fucking Commando Bob, right? It's like, clear the whole fucking house. There's just no one. The goddamn door was locked. There's no one in the fucking house. And I had no choice but to just go back downstairs and, like, fucking sit there and wait. Yeah, I guess I just...
If I remember correctly, this is how the conversation went, too. I got the text because you asked me if Taylor or Curtis were there. They come by to, like...
Right.
Because they were moving in or something. And I remember turning to my girlfriend at the time and saying, Josh said there's someone in the house. And she says, well, who is it? And I'm like, I don't fucking know who it is.
I don't fucking know.
That's why it's so concerning.
That's why he's asking me.
Uh,
That's when you look at her and say, I was hoping you knew.
It's you.
Because we don't fucking know.
You're there.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, honestly. I was kind of pissed off about it.
Oh, well.
That's really why I got my gun and went upstairs.
Oh.
I never wanted to tell you guys that, but anywho. So, moving on. We've got a couple stories. I'm going to tell one about the bar, and then we can segue into something Catherine and I experienced together. You know what they say? Those who get spooged together stay together.
I don't think that's how that goes at all.
They say that.
Okay. And
They say
I
it.
believe you.
You don't fucking...
I believe you.
You don't fucking know. So, one night while cleaning the bar that I used to work at for my mother, this was also why I wouldn't get home until like 3 or 4 in the morning, because the bar would close at 1:30 and then I'd have to clean the bitch, and it was up to me if I just like wanted to go home and then wake my ass up and clean it before they opened the next morning, or if I just wanted to clean it while I was already fucking there that night. So I would just clean it at night. So it was regular for me to be there till like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I'm like sweeping and mopping and shit. And this place is like definitely haunted. Most people who are there alone have heard something, have seen something, like something's happened. Almost everyone has a story. It's pretty regular to hear voices. It's pretty regular to hear footsteps. It's a humongous place. It's probably like the main room alone. It's not even the whole building. The main bar is probably like 40 feet by 100 feet. It's huge. And maybe even bigger than that. I don't know. I'm bad at
it's at least 12 feet long.
Probably, yeah, at least. So, it's one of these nights I'm fucking getting my shit on, and I've even got the jukebox jamming, so I can't really hear anything. The old jukebox, she's a pumping. So I can't really hear anything other than my jams, right? And I'm like, I remember I was sweeping. I've got the big ass fucking dust mop, you know, the huge wide thing that clickety clacks when you spin it around. So I'm going along, and I remember there was just like super dark, like depressing force that was just like bearing down on me, and I felt like it was just like crushing me into a ball, like mentally, as I'm like going around. And I remember stopping and like talking to like whatever entity may have been in the room. I was like, hey, like, I know maybe you want me to fuck off or whatever, but I need to clean this place so I can get out of here, right? Just let me clean the place and then I'll leave. And it got to the point where it was like so mentally overwhelming that I thought I was going to like burst into tears. Like it was just so extreme, this feeling. So I thought, fuck it, okay, I'm leaving. Like, you win, whatever, I'm leaving, I'm out of here. So I go, turn all the lights off. I go to get out in my truck, sit down in my truck, put the key in the ignition, turn it. Literally nothing happens. No lights, no dings, no nothing. Nothing at all. I'm just spinning my fucking ignition back and forth, and it's doing nothing. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, kind of shit my pants a little bit. I was like, all right. I get out of my truck, say something like, for fuck's sake, like, I'm going. Like, just let me start my truck, and I'll get the fuck out. And I get back in. Truck fired right up. Like, fucking not a problem the second time around. It fires right up, and out I go. Ironically, I was telling that story to my mother very recently, like a week or two ago, and she said the same thing happened to her a couple months ago. She said she went to get out in her car, and it wouldn't fucking start. So just absolutely nothing. Weird. Like it was completely and totally dead. Yeah. Catherine, I'll let you tell the story of us at the bar together.
So when Josh and I first got together and he toyed with my heart for like a solid year.
Oh,
no. That was probably more like 4 months, okay?
Damn.
It was longer than that,
No,
but anyways.
no. Listen, I'll break out a timeline for you, okay? So we met in early January, right, at the get-together. You didn't actually start coming out to the band thing until March. Now, I remember. You didn't start coming out until March, because that's what we told the newspaper. The band was officially formed in March of whatever fucking year that was. 2014? Yes. March 2014. So that's when you started coming out, and it was maybe like a month or two after that when we started really talking and getting into the thing. And we were officially together in August, so it wasn't a whole year.
I just want to say that we remember things differently.
It was August.
Look, I'm going to be real with you.
It's true facts.
I don't think I've ever told you this before, but I specifically remember telling Kat to tell you to fuck off.
Well,
look, if he ain't going to fucking pull the trigger, then fuck him.
Look, it was about 4 months.
I remember that.
It was about 4 months.
Okay, so anyways, one of the things we did was hang out really, really late because Josh had a terrible sleep schedule.
Yeah.
And I would get like 2 hours of sleep and then turn around and drive down to school.
And she loved it.
This semester I was graduating, and I was slowly killing myself.
And she loved it.
It was a sacrifice I made for love. But so we were at his mom's bar really late. Probably the witching hour, if I had to say.
Mm-hmm. Deedly.
And we were sitting in the dark. There was like one of those like junky light up bar signs like the other side of the room, but for the most part we were sitting in complete darkness because we didn't want anybody to know we were there, like customer wise, you know. We were telling scary stories, naturally, because it is the key to my heart. Mm-hmm. And so the way that the bar is set up, there are a bunch of support beams, like structural support beams that line the entirety of the building.
Yeah, the bar itself used to be like a feed mill, so it's built like a barn. It's just got these huge fucking structural like barn posts that run through the bar.
And the way they're set up, they have it kind of reminds me of like a street lamp. Like several of them have lamps attached to them that kind of curve down. Once again, we're sitting in darkness. We're sitting at the bar, at the corner of the bar, right next to each other, and each one of these beams has a lamp on it, and they're all on the same switch. And as we are telling the story, I don't even remember exactly what we were talking about at that part, other than it was creepy topics. One single lamp directly above us turns on.
Yeah. So these lights are all on the same circuit. It's like you flip the switch, they all come on. All the lights in the row fucking come the fuck on. This thing defies modern science. Yeah. Flips one fucking light on. The one we're sitting under.
And it eventually like fizzled out,
Right.
and we kind of like muttered to ourselves like, well, let's just not talk about it.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird occurrence, wouldn't you say? I mean, here we are in the dark.
Pay
and
no mind.
Speaking of demonic happenings, this happens to be a Spoogston here with us. Who knew?
Yes.
So
that's
yeah,
that story.
that was a very adult reaction we had to it. Just kind of like looked
Yeah.
at it like, huh, well that ain't supposed to happen. That's that ain't right. I'll tell you that right now. That ain't right. I'm gonna tell a big story and then a small story that will lead up into the grand story. This is one that I definitely had a very like adult, like I didn't just see that kind of reaction. So I was much older. Catherine and I were we were together at this point. I imagine this was probably sometime that fall of 2014. Probably right around this exact time of year. In a place that feels much like the place you're in right now. Actually, no. This was in a very specific spot. So I was driving from my house into town. And to do that, you've got to go on B Road, right? So I'm driving on B Road. It was at night, and I was on my way to Catherine's house in Perryville. And I'm crossing this bridge right before the city limits. It crosses over Sinkholms Creek, which is a French thing. A lot of old French in the area, French and German folks in that region. Right as I cross the bridge, I mean, the fucking second the front of my truck gets past the bridge, I've got an old truck, so the headlights, they cut off at like a 90 degree out from the sides of my truck. Like it's just boom, there's a light out to the side, and then it comes out. It's no gradual shit. As the very strong edge of my headlight kind of gets past the bridge and into the grass, it flashes across this like silhouette that I can see out of the corner of my eye, and I like fling my head around to the right, the passenger side of my truck, and just catch it as it's passing my passenger window. And I can only describe it to you as a humanoid with bird wings. It was a bird man. And I remember being so like puzzled, like my mind is just like going, trying to explain this thing away that I saw. The next thing I know, I'm like at Kat's house. I'm like, I remember, like the next thing I really remember is being in her bedroom, just being like, still kind of processing this whole thing.
I remember when you pulled up, you like, I don't know, you were out of it in the truck. I remember like you just sitting there like stalled in front of my house with the window down, like not super receptive to the questions I was asking you.
Oh, you were outside?
Yeah, I came out and visited you at the truck.
Oh, fuck.
Because that's when I asked you to take me to it.
Oh. Yeah, I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you asked me to take you back there, and I was basically like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Like, definitely not going to do that.
No, you were like torn. I remember you were like trying to talk yourself out of what you had seen. And I remember like rationalizing with you like, no, let's just go look. Like don't try and talk yourself out of it. What you saw is probably real. And you were just like, no, maybe I could have just imagined it, you know? Like, right. It could have been nothing.
So I know, like, in my mind, the last thing I wanted to do was, like, go acknowledge with this thing that I had, in fact, seen it. Like, hey, buddy, remember me? I definitely saw you the first time. Like, I didn't want it to know that I knew. I think that was my rationalization.
I mean, it was standing right next to the highway.
Pretty much, yeah. Maybe 10 feet off the road.
So, like,
at
it
most.
wanted to be seen.
So what I think was happening, because it was standing in a really unnatural position. I remember, so it's got this humongous fucking wingspan, which was kind of reminiscent of what Jesse said, but Jesse is certain his had bat wings.
Yeah, positive.
Mine definitely had bird wings.
Maybe You know how memory is.
That's true.
Maybe it was a giant bird man.
Mine definitely had bird wings. And it had its arms out at like a 45-degree angle from its body facing downward. And they were kind of inverted. So if you were standing with your arms at your side at a 45-degree angle, your palms would be behind you and the tops of your hands would be facing forward, right? That's kind of how it was standing.
Okay.
And it was looking, it was facing the road, so it was facing my truck. And it was looking over its right shoulder, past the bridge, looking towards town. The only reason I know that its arms were inverted and it wasn't standing there with its palms out is because I could see the tips of the feathers sticking up. So it almost looked like it was looking over its shoulder, kind of like inspecting the bottom of its wing. Mm-hmm. Like looking, like, you know, kind of like something like this. Like, hey, man, check it out. And that's kind of like a snapshot of what I saw. Like, I didn't see it move or anything. And obviously I had to drive the same fucking way home, and it wasn't there when I went back home. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if I stayed the night with you or if I went home that night. I don't remember. I do remember...
And you attributed a lot of crow-like features to it.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely black. Like, 100%. I mean, I guess that could have been nighttime, I guess. It could have been brown, for all I know, and it would have looked black, but...
So, the startling thing about your story, aside from the obvious, is that my dad has had a very strange experience with something that was also bird-like when he was young, also on B Road, where this happened to Josh, but a different section of the road. He had worked the night shift or the late shift at this diner he was a cook at. I think he was like 17 or something, and he's speeding, and I think he was on his way to work because his coworkers were like, "Man, dude, what's fucking wrong with you?" Yeah, and he's driving along this curvy road at night. Something large swiftly flies over his vehicle, and he said that the wingspan was larger than the vehicle he was driving in, and like the shadow like encompassed his headlights. Yeah. And at the exact instant that happened, he saw two people in the road, one of them laying down in the road, and he swerves to miss them and almost runs him over. Whoa. And when he gets out of the car, he's freaking out, and the kids run off, and he can't see whatever it was that was, that flew over the car. And, like, he's, like, traumatized by the whole thing. Like, what the fuck is going on here, And he was similarly, like, taken aback. He got to work, and they were like, what's going on? Like, and he didn't, although he didn't see it, he attributes bird-like features to it.
Yeah.
But so it was also something large that could fly.
So it's like one of these things.
To me, it makes me think Grim Reaper, but I mean, that's a stretch.
When you see something super fucking traumatic and like fucked up and unexplainable like that, and you like immediately afterwards, like I was on my way to your house, like he was on his way to work, like you're suddenly confronted by people, like you are in like a shock like state, like you're still chewing through this shit mentally. So the last thing you want really is to have to try to explain yourself to other people, because you don't even know yourself what the fuck you just saw. And you could say something stupid, you could say something weird, maybe you don't know if these people are cool with even hearing about this shit. You might fuck your job up or whatever. Luckily for me, I was going to your house and I knew, you were someone I could talk to. But your dad, like, I don't know if he told those people about that or not, or if he just brushed it off, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not something you actually just... can just go out and fucking spill your guts about, because like people are gonna think you're a fucking whack job.
Yep.
So it's really, really nice. It makes it much easier to tell a story if someone else is there and experiences the exact same thing you experienced the same exact way. It makes
Absolutely.
It much, much easier. Which leads us to the final story of the evening. It all started.
Oh, hell, I don't even remember what time of year it was. I think it was around this time of year. Yeah, because
I had
a flannel on.
Yeah, this This would have been right before we met up with Catherine. This would have been like fall of 2013. Because I was working for the sheriff's office.
So Josh was sleeping on the couch because he had just gotten off from working at the jail. And I went outside for a smoke because I had terrible habits and I'm disgusting and I'm trash. And so
Jeez.
It's about time someone fucking
You're a
said it.
beautiful person, all right?
So I go outside and I'm taking a hefty drag, and then I hear something walking around out in the woods, like right next to Josh's house. Remember the woods earlier that Josh said that you would think would be spooky? They're fucking spooky. He's full of shit. So, taking a drag off my cigarette, doing the thing. Hear something walking around out there, and I think, my first thought is, okay, well, it's somebody's fucking dog or whatever. But the more I listened to it, the more it sounded like a deer walking around. Because I've hunted since I was a kid. I know what deer sound like. They sound like people.
Right. Anyone who's hunted deer knows that they sound like an entire fucking marching band coming through the woods. Like, one deer can sound like a fucking stampede if it's running. Like,
they can also sound like people.
Very
too.
loud.
Like, just the way they step.
Yeah, if they're just like trotting,
like
kind of like
sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walking through the woods. Also, a single squirrel can sound like an entire deer.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Especially when they're so
we
fast.
actually measure things in squirrels as far as sounds. Like, how many squirrels was that sound,
About 10 squirrels.
Yeah, about 10 squirrels. So I'm hearing this and I'm like, oh, there's a deer out there walking through this little patch of woods.
Yonder patch of gravel?
Yeah, yonder patch of gravel. So I go over there with my phone, my shitty iPhone 3GS that has like no flashlight on it. And I go over the edge of the woods and shine it out there. And I see two glowing eyes, like cat's eyes that you would see. They're I'd say about chest height, maybe a little taller off the ground. And I am immediately like, oh, okay, this is a bear or a mountain lion, and I'm about to, this is going to be the last moments of my life right here. And it turns its head and then starts walking. I hear the ch sound. So I go into the house and I get Josh. And I'm like, hey, dude, grab your fucking gun. There's something out there. We gotta.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I was like half in my underwear. Like,
no, you were fully dressed. You were passed out.
I was in a rough state.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I think I had my pants undone.
Probably.
Like I was fucking like kaput, man.
Hot.
Had a good old, full shift doing God's work out there at the county jail. So Jesse comes in, like, he was slightly panicked, I could tell, like a little spooked, He comes in, he's like, hey, wake up, right? I'm like, what? He's like, there's someone in your fucking
and
house.
I don't normally get excited about shit on a normal everyday basis.
I'm thinking, okay, right? Like, maybe someone followed me home, right, from my job. So I'm like, okay, cool. I've got just the thing for that. It's this real cool Glock 23. Let's go see what they want. So, I grabbed my fucking my police flashlight, my police handgun, and we strolled down into the fucking woods. Well, we didn't go in just yet. So I come to the edge of the woods, and you can hear very loud, very heavy footsteps, right? And by this time, they're moving not real quick. It's not like someone strolling.
No, it's like leisurely.
Like very deliberate.
Just kind of hanging out, walking around.
Yeah, like slower. It wasn't super slow, but slower than like a normal walk. It was kind of menacing, almost. Is a good way to describe the speed of the footsteps. Almost like a Terminator, right? If you could imagine how quick a Terminator walks, that's about how fast this thing was walking. So we get outside, and I'm still trying to, like, shake off the fucking sleep, right? And Jesse's telling me, like, what he's seeing. He's like, dude, it started up at the top of the woods, and there's this thing walking, and at first I thought it was a fucking cat, and I don't know what the fuck it is, man. It could be a guy. He's like, but its fucking eyes are glowing. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? Hang on. All right, so it's like a dog, right? He's like, I don't know, dude. It's pretty tall. I was like, all right, let's see. And I shine my light. Sure as shit. I could only see like one eye because it was not facing us directly. It was like facing 90 degrees from us and heading down towards a sinkhole, which runs. So the woods run like parallel with my mom's property, so like along the side of her house, right? And we were kind of matching it along the edge of the woods. So I remember yelling at this thing. I'm trying to get it to stop, right? I've got my flashlight on and I can only see one eye. It's facing away from me, going down towards the sinkhole, and I'm just like yelling. I'm like, hey guy, hey, and it's just not. It's just still going, right? Ka-chunk.
Yeah. So
Ka-chunk.
then I do the
Ka-chunk.
the whistle thing that you do towards deer, like the sound. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't, but you know the sound.
Yeah. I couldn't do it either. I resorted to doing the high-pitched fucking
Yeah,
sound.
that one. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. So it fucking stops dead, stares right at us.
Mm-hmm.
After we do the fucking right? After we had just got done like screaming, I remember throwing a couple rocks at it and shit too. It's just, it wasn't stopping. So, and it fucking stops, boom, 2 eyes like right at us. Just fucking glaring at us, right? Like we had just royally pissed it off. And it's just stopped dead. It's not moving anymore. Staring right at us. And I was like, oh boy. Well, now that we have its attention, what would we like from it? we didn't really think that far ahead. Like, so, and it's, you know, like I can just imagine sitting there like, what do you want, mortal? And I'm just like, yeah, I got nothing, man.
I didn't think I'd get this far.
Yeah, I got nothing. I didn't come up with that yet. So
Just gets hit in the face with a rock.
Fucking Sasquatch comes fucking monkeying out of the woods. Ooh. So after like a really, really tense, probably 30 seconds, we're just staring into this thing's eyes. It slowly turns its head back and starts fucking Terminatoring its way back down towards the sinkhole. I'm like, son of a bitch, like, we gotta figure out what the hell this thing is. So rinse and repeat a couple times. We make the fucking sound, and it stops and turns its head. Eventually, as it gets closer to the sinkhole, it's not really working as much anymore. You've got to like really like hey to get it to stop anymore, right? And so finally, we're like, fuck it, we got to cut it off. We got head him off at the pass. I remember I gave Jesse the flashlight. I was like, Jesse, you take the flashlight and you go around in front of it. But, like, go around to, like, the other side of the sinkhole. That way, if it runs at you, it's got to, like, go through this fucking sinkhole, right?
And I had a knife.
And it's like
my
a
weapon.
huge... It was a humongous sinkhole, right? It's pretty fucking big. Like, you fall in there and you're gonna hurt yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jesse swings around to the other side of the sinkhole, and this thing's getting close, right? And I'm coming down, so we're coming at it in, like, an L pattern. Right, like converging on the corner of the L. Mm-hmm. Jesse's walking straight towards it, and I'm coming from its left side with my gun. Jesse's making all the noise, so I can kind of get close and, surprise it. If it jumped me, I've got the gun.
Yep.
I'm getting closer and closer and closer. It's not stopping anymore. We're making all kinds of noises. I'm probably 10 feet from it. Jesse's as close as he is. Mm-hmm. It gets into the fucking sinkhole. We're like,
okay. I'm gonna pick up here because I was like right fucking there. Okay, the weirdest part about this whole thing is this was essentially just a floating pair of eyes. This thing didn't have a body.
Yeah,
there was no body.
No,
at all.
We never ever saw an outline, a silhouette, a body, nothing.
No,
never.
Just floating fucking eyes.
How far could the light from your flashlight penetrate? Like
really far.
Yeah.
I had a good flashlight.
All the way. I saw so it's at one point its eyes were like where they were, and I could see the tree behind it.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing there.
Did it? You know how like when you're driving down the highway and you see an animal on the side of the road, like the reflection of their eyes.
Yeah.
Like was it like that if you shone the flashlight?
Exactly
just like that.
So.
But I dare say, much more shiny.
Yeah.
What size are we talking?
As far as what? How big were the eyes?
Yeah.
Not particularly large.
No, like the size of I'd say like the size of a dog's. Somewhere around
maybe,
there.
yeah. I mean, I thought they might have belonged to an animal. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, when they looked at me, I mean, it's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, there wasn't like
Gotcha.
an intelligence or anything behind them. They were just there.
Okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
if you got the vibe that it was some kind of like human entity in nature, or
Maybe.
If it was
I mean, it was
bestial.
tall. It was tall enough. It was definitely.
I don't know what.
It was
fuck.
definitely. Because, I mean, there's a point in time when you've got the light on it, and you can see the eyes in the air, and you can tell where the eyes are at in relation to the ground. Like, you can tell where its body should be.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just no body there.
Yeah.
And so, like, you've got an estimation of how far the eyes are off the ground, and I would say they were probably 5 to 6 feet
Yeah.
off the
They were
ground.
the size of a
I mean,
like a fully grown person off the ground.
I mean, yeah, like, it could have been the size of a person, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there was just no body attached to the fucking eyes.
Nope.
So, who the fuck knows? So, continue, Jesse.
So, like Josh said, we're doing like the L thing where we're like basically scissoring it.
Hell yeah.
And
Hell yeah, brother.
goddamn. And I'm following this
Jesus.
thing, and it's heading towards the sinkhole. And getting closer and closer
Oh,
and closer.
fucking hell. You know what we should
What?
have done? Should have just been like, oh, it's coming right for us! And just fucking unloaded the whole fucking mag into it.
Damn, we should have done that. You're right.
Yeah, I was wondering why you hadn't shot it.
I don't know.
Well, it's like, so it was really, really late, and we were in like a subdivision, and like, while we do live in a rural area, like a gunshot at that kind of night would probably elicit police response. So,
Well, and I
I didn't
never
really want to explain myself.
got like bad vibes from it. Like I wasn't like it wanted to hurt me or anything. It was just kind of like
No, it was just the stare it would give was really intense.
Yeah, it was.
It was very intense. Like it did not falter. Like it's looking right fucking at you. And the fact that it would stop moving when it looked at you made it even more intense. And that's
Yeah.
about as scary as it got.
Yeah.
It was very intimidating. Extremely intimidating.
Yeah.
I felt much better about the situation because I had a gun in my hand.
Yeah.
And then I thought, when I didn't really see a body, I thought, this gun's useless.
Pretty much.
I was like, what am I going to do with this? Could probably shoot Jesse and then shoot myself in like best case scenario.
Yeah.
I
pretty
think
much.
that's about as useful as this gun's going to be.
So I'm getting closer to this thing, and it's getting closer and closer to the sinkhole, and there's kind of like this natural ditch from runoff and everything that goes into the sinkhole.
Yeah.
And it's deep, and I'd say it's about 2 feet deep. It's deep enough that you could stand in it. And it's covered with leaves, because it was that time of year. And I'm watching this thing kind of just going in, getting closer to it. We kept doing the thing to get its attention, and it would look, and that's kind of how I was keeping track of it, because when you couldn't see the eyes, the thing was basically invisible.
Right.
It just didn't exist.
You could just hear it, and that was it.
Yeah. I'm following this thing. It's going into this little gully, and the last time I see the eyes are underneath the leaves covering the gully. And they close, and it disappears into the fucking earth. Into the ground.
It just like walked its way like into the fucking ground.
Yeah, and then it was gone.
The eyes just went lower and lower and lower. The sound got lower and lower and lower. It's basically like in the side of this like sinkhole.
Mm-hmm.
Like right on the edge of it. And it just like the last thing I remember seeing were its eyes on the side. So I remember Jesse having to explain to me what he saw, because I saw the eyes, and from where I was, I thought it was just like standing in a deep part of the sinkhole, because I could kind of see the eyes, and I'm like, oh shit. So I moved to get closer, because Jesse was a little closer than I was, and he was the one with the flashlight. So I moved to get closer, and as I get closer, I get up to about where Jesse is, and I'm like, wait, where the fuck did it go? And Jesse's like, dude, it just fucking stopped. Like it was there, and then it just like wasn't. closed its eyes, and it was gone. And I was like, shit. Hello? Hey, eyeball man? You live here? And that was about it.
We neighbors.
Yeah, there were like nights afterwards. I remember like going out in the woods with you, Catherine, like running after some things. But I think that was probably like a groundhog. Definitely not a 5 foot tall invisible groundhog.
Yeah.
Like right after that, I remember we spent a little time outside, like trying to listen for footsteps in the woods, and never really came across anything. I was thinking maybe in the future, now that we've wrapped this up, let me know what you guys think. I was thinking in the future, maybe like this time next year, hopefully we've got a good enough listener base, we could have people email us their spooky stories. And, I mean, there's nothing to keep them from being totally fucking made up, which is okay. I encourage true stories.
Just trust you not to be a douchebag.
Yeah, we're rolling on the honor system here, and we'll bring it up again later. But I feel like that'd be a good idea, because like that's all of my stories. I think that's it. That's all I've got.
I'm gonna shamelessly plug in something here. It occurred to me like a month ago, really, that I'd really like to write a book, and I want it to be not completely, but primarily testimonial based, on weird shit that has happened to people in the Perryville/Southeast Missouri area. And it's stuff like, you, Josh, and my dad having that, similarities in your stories. I really want to be able to find stuff that people have in common.
As far as I know, there's no kind of thing out there like this where people in our area can like share their experiences and draw similarities.
Right.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is kind of in its infancy at the moment, but I kind of want to use this as a platform for people to reach out. And so you were saying like a year from now people could share their stories, like absolutely. And if they don't come to us, I'm hoping by that time it could come from the book, So,
right. So you got to do it in a way, and nothing against you fine folks out there. You got to do this kind of thing in a way where people can't just get together en masse and start fucking spewing stories at each other.
Right.
Because that's how you get this like mass hysteria phenomenon where people who didn't see shit are suddenly seeing shit.
Right. We don't want a Facebook thread where everybody's just feeding off of each other's bullshit.
Right. So I don't think we're going to do like a public post or a public forum where people can get together and like share their shit.
But if you wanted to personally reach out,
true.
My plan is if anybody wants to, I would prefer to do it in person, an in-person interview where I can ask as many questions as I want, or an audio, like a phone recording or a Skype recording, something like that. I don't want people giving their testimony in like some shitty, like they texted it to me and like it's full of grammatical errors and like doesn't tell a complete tale, and I don't want any of that. So alright, you lovely fucks, this has been fun.
You stupid fat fuckers. You fucking bitches. You just fucking sit there and listen to the spookiest shit you ever heard. Fucking sit back and fucking take it.
If you stuck around, I'm proud of you. This has been long. Right. I know.
I didn't want to do this. All right?
We did. It was Jesse and I's idea.
I am here against my own will.
And then you told most of the stories.
Yeah. Listen, I knew it was going to be a long night. All right? So we got this thing together. I'm like, guys, I got some shit. And Jesse's like, wait, what are we doing? And then Kat's like, I only got a couple things. And then we started the episodes. So.
And then the episode lasted 3 hours. And here we are. Over a week later.
Here we are.
But so yeah,
that's all right.
This is all we get.
Gives us a little reprieve. We don't have to fucking struggle to fucking research and like regurgitate this content into your fucking ear holes, okay? It gives us a break. I need a break. Give me a fucking minute. Alright? Anywho, hope you enjoyed this three-part piecer. Three-parter. Piecing. So, that's fucking over. Thank God for that. We're going to finish this one off with a track from a group. Again, keep in mind, send us your stuff, for the love of God. I'm tired of reaching out to you people. Why don't you reach out to me for once? All right? Send us your stuff. This track is from a group called Drop Dead City. They did tell me about themselves. They are a 3-piece pop-punk band from Leamington, Ontario, Canada.
Nice.
Their influences include The Maine, Blink-182, and they have a self-proclaimed tinge of classic rock.
A tinge.
Their first show was on the 27th of October, which was 2 days ago from the time this was recorded, but about 3 weeks ago from the time you'll be hearing this shit. They are getting ready to do some more shows, I assume, around the Ontario region. If we got any listeners in Canada, goddamn, get after it.
The dudes in this fucking band better.
They have an upcoming... Yeah, no shit. They have an upcoming demo on the way called Live from the Shed, or maybe it's Live from the Shed. They didn't specify.
Live from the shit?
Yeah. Yep. So they shot me some tracks. This one is called Last Chance Romance. Enjoy the shit. Have a shit. See ya.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Catch you next week. Fuck off.
I just hope they voted.
Should just be a competition to see who actually gets the final words in the episodes.